Hey everybody, it's Lacey motherfucking Sculls. How's it going? You are watching and listening to episode 11 of the Talk of Love podcast. Welcome back. So we are going through a few changes, which some of you may be aware. And basically what we're going to be doing from here on out is we are going to be having a new guest co-host every single week. It'll be somebody different and it's going to be a surprise. So I'm really actually looking forward to this because we're going to be bringing in castmates from Rock of Love, from Charm School, from I Love Money. And then from there, we'll probably branch out to some of the other of Love shows. So it's going to be really, really fun. I'm actually really looking forward to it. And as you guys know today, Megan is going to be joining me. So I'm really, really, really excited about having her. It's going to be awesome. So before we get into our conversation with Megan, we are going to start out with comment of the week. So you guys are amazing. You guys always send us the funniest stuff. I keep saying us. I'm so used to saying us because it usually isn't us, but now it's just a me. Wah, wah. So I have to get used to this because otherwise you guys are going to tune in and be like, who's this us? She has like multiple personality disorder. What's going on? So anyway, comment of the week. Yellow Psych sent a really, really funny one. This is great. Yellow Psych says, I have a question and it's very serious. Okay, who threatened Tiffany with a good time? She was clearly in a state of total panic and despair because she was being threatened with a good time by someone during the entire first season, and she was desperately begging everyone to stop threatening her with a good time. That woman was violently threatened with a good time, and the possibility of having a good time clearly sent her over the edge. Hashtag justice for Tiffany. She was threatened with a good time. That's amazing. I can only imagine if like this was some like alternate reality where that actually was real and she was making jokes about it, but in reality she had like a full-blown panic of being threatened with a good time. That's pretty good, Yellow Psych. That's pretty good. I like it. So then we have another runner-up comment of the week is from Lauren. Lauren, you say, seeing Lacey out of character and being nice is like seeing your teacher out of school. That's good. I like that. I feel like, do teachers actually exist outside of school? I feel like when you leave school, they like just disappear and go off onto their own realm, their teacher realm. But yeah, you know, I got to say it's funny, the whole concept that you guys are now kind of aware of, this whole being in character or not being in character. It added a whole level of thinking and monitoring myself when I was on these shows. And there were definitely times where I would fall out of character just because the cameras are there 24/7 and it's not natural to be constantly like, you know, acting. I wasn't exactly acting, but, you know, playing the part, playing the character. So Lauren's question actually made me think of something specific having to do with I Love Money 3. I know you guys love hearing about I Love Money 3. And we have talked about it a little bit in the past, we being me and Heather on episode 2 specifically. But I thought of another story having to do with like being in character or not being in character. So I Love Money 3. My arch nemesis was Weasel, who you guys know, his real name is Polly, who actually is a really awesome guy. I really dig him a lot, but he was definitely my arch nemesis. He was on Daisy of Love, which is where you guys might know him from. So ever since the Rock of Love Vegas episode where I was annihilated and was like falling off the bar drunk, I was like, I'm never going to do that again. I will drink and have fun, but I'm not going to get plastered like that. Well, at least that was the plan. So on I Love Money 3, about halfway through, I was with Weasel. I think we're on a challenge or something. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember exactly, but basically, Weasel, he's a big guy and he is like a party dude. And he challenged me, once again, this is where I always get myself screwed and in trouble. He challenged me to a whiskey, yes, whiskey, drink off. And my stupid ass was like, I can out-drink you, Weasel, with whiskey, even though you weigh like 75 pounds more than me and it's solid muscle. So I started drinking with Weasel and pretty much exactly the same thing happened as what happened on Rock of Love. I was just out, done, just plastered. So the difference is even though I was wasted, I was aware enough to recognize what was going on. And my first thought was like, oh no, I cannot have another episode like what happened in Vegas. So there was a big cast there. And I was like, well, let me just quietly sneak off into the bedroom and maybe the producers and the cameramen won't notice. Oh no, they always notice. So I went into my bedroom and like, I was wasted, you guys. I had like the spins. I was nauseous. It was really bad. But I was by myself. So I'm laying in bed, just annihilated. Next thing I know, in walks one of the cameramen, and he just starts filming me. And I was like, oh God, no, I cannot have this happen again. And I just burst into tears. I was so upset because I had lost control of my character on I Love Money 3. So I started crying, and then thank God, or Satan, depending on who you ask, thanks somebody out there, I actually had the wherewithal to implement something that one of the other castmates on one of the other Of Love shows had told me. And that is, if the producers or the cameramen ever come and mess with you when you're on the show and you don't want to be bothered, the best way out of it is to break the fourth wall and talk into the camera and address them by name, the production company, and they won't air that. So in that moment of my drunken stupor, I remembered that. So I looked right into the camera. I said, 51 Minds, I'm not going to let you do this to me. Do not film me right now, 51 Minds. VH1, I don't give you my permission to film me right now. And I just kept on and kept on and kept on. And I wouldn't let up because I'm like, I cannot be filmed in this state. It will be all bad. So after about 2 or 3 minutes of that, the cameraman just slowly backs out of the room. I was like, okay, good. And then in walks one of the producers by herself. And I was like, what's going on? She walks in, she's like, Lacey, what's going on? And I'm like, please don't film me right now. I cannot do this again. Just let me go to sleep. Let me sleep it off. And I promise you, I will give you good, crazy Lacey content for the rest of the time I'm here. So she obliged and it was all good. But no one's ever going to see that anyway, which is really upsetting. But anyway, so that was like my little way of manipulating even the producers of the show, who are usually the villains themselves. So anyway, that was my fun story about, being in character versus breaking character. So the last thing I want to share is a couple of you guys have posted in the YouTube comments middle names for me, which I always appreciate. You guys are very creative with this. Let's see. Brittany Thomas. Lacey, the show must go on, Sculls. Oh, I like that, Brittany. Yes, the show must go on. As I said earlier, we've been through crazy changes, but that's not stopping me, and I'm not going to stop entertaining you guys. So Talk of Love is here to stay. And then Carrie Bibb says, after this whole fiasco, you've got to be called Lacey Survivor Sculls. I am a survivor. That's right, Carrie. Thank you so much for that. You guys are awesome. So now, without further ado, drum roll, please. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We have Megan Hauserman from Rock of Love Season 2, Charm School, and Megan Wants a Millionaire. Hey, Megan, what's up, girl? How's it going?
Hi, how are you? I'm so excited to see you.
I'm so excited to see you, too. You look fantastic.
Thank you. It's been so long. You look great.
It has been way too long. So, we've been talking on the phone, but I haven't actually seen you in the flesh in several years, I guess. It's been a while,
10 years probably, right? But it feels like just yesterday.
Yeah, it's like we haven't missed a beat. It was so great talking to you on the phone the other day because I'm like, oh, it's just like we're right back in sync, just always how we were.
I know, it's crazy, right? And you know what? I just want to tell you, you're doing like such a great job. I'm so proud of you. You've really put so much work into this. It's such a special project. And just thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of it.
Oh, Megan, thank you so much. You pulled at my heartstrings. So the truth is going to come out about us that we're actually nice people. So I don't know how you feel about that. I'm trying to keep it going. Like, no, I'm still very diabolical, but it's been many, many years. And, I had such a great time with you on Charm School because correct me if I'm wrong, I think you and I had not met yet prior to Charm School, with maybe the exception of when I came on and did the roller derby on Rock of Love 2.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
But, right when we met each other, we clicked right away, and it just felt right.
Well, it's funny because when my strategy going into Charm School was, I wanted to continue being this villain character because I just thought it was going to be fun. And but I thought it'd be even better to have this powerhouse duo kind of thing. And I hadn't really met you yet. So, of course, the first person I thought of was Heather. So I reached out to Heather prior to Charm School and I was like, hey, girl, I'm super excited about Charm School. Let's talk strategy. And I was like, we should go into this thing being like because it's supposed to be like school. So I'm like, let's be like the biggest badass bitches of Charm School and just like own the place and just mop the floor with these girls. Like, what do you think? That'd be so much fun. And she was like, she's like, I appreciate you calling me, but she's like, I really want to go in there and like turn over a new leaf and like, make myself a better person and show that side of me. And I was like, well, that's no fun. So she basically like kiboshed that. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just play it by ear. And so when I went into Charm School and I met you, just immediately we clicked and I was like, oh, this is my girl that I can like be the power duo with, I was just, you and I just got each other and got each other's characters.
Right. Well, me and Brandy had just finished filming I Love Money. So we came into that, like pretty much as a team together. But what was interesting is that we were actually had a meeting with the producers before it was even filmed.
Oh.
And he told me that I was not going to be even an option as a winner for the show, and that they didn't want me to change my character at all. They wanted me to completely stay the same, and that Brandy was actually going to be one of the top options to win the show.
Wow, that would have made sense. Was it just the spitting thing that
right?
That
so basically, my job on that show was to just have fun and support her and hopefully get her to the end as far as I could.
Well, you did a pretty good job given the circumstances. You can't keep the spit in her mouth, unfortunately. But Brandy was
the best
awesome.
I could. I'm not a miracle worker.
But you and Brandy C were amazing on I Love Money, and I love Brandy C anyway. She and I go back to Rock of Love. So it really worked out that the two of you happened to bond, and I already had this bond with her. So by the time the three of us got together, it just naturally happened.
Yeah, and we got our own room. Everybody else had to share that big room. We had like the VIP room.
Well, I was in the first. Sorry to interrupt you. Just so everybody knows, since we're doing the Skype thing, there was a tiny bit of a delay. So bear with us, you guys. But once the coronavirus is over, I want to get you here in person. That'd be so much fun.
I know. It's going to be so much better. But, we have to do what we can for now.
Exactly. So, yeah, you and I are seriously social distancing by like 3,000 miles right now.
Like another planet.
Exactly. But so just to refresh your memory, when I first went into Charm School, I actually was in the large room, and I was, all of the girls, we were all looking for our beds, and they had determined, the producers had determined whose bed was whose by putting our photo on our bed. And so when I walked into the large room, there was a bunk, and I was sharing with Dallas.
Oh, are you serious? That's so funny.
And all the girls saw that, like, oh, poor Dallas. And at some point, I was able to go into the room with you guys, which was like the cool girls' room.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So you basically went in, as you just said, knowing that you were going to be this character, and then you and Brandy C got to strategize a little bit. Did you know at this point that you were going to be doing that you were going to be doing Megan Wants a Millionaire, or did you not know it yet as of that point?
No. What's crazy is that at the very beginning, remember they were interviewing us on what we wanted to be when we grew up or whatever, and I just was honest with them.
You had the best answer.
I was like, job, maybe not, but maybe trophy wife would be a better fit. And I didn't even think twice about it. And everybody laughed at me, of course. And then when I was kicked off and I was like, get me out of this place, in the car, right before they took me to the hotel room, the producers came up to me and said, we're going to do it. And I was like, do what? Take me home. Get away from me. I never want to see you again. And they're like, we're going to do trophy wife. We're going to make you a trophy wife. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Call me.
That's amazing.
And then, a couple of months later, that's when I got the contract. So, if I wasn't on charm school never would have happened.
That's so awesome. I remember when you said that answer, the trophy wife, all the girls you could tell had been like trying to concoct like just the right answer to say to Sharon. And you said that
Right.
and it just mind fucked everybody in the entire room. I remember you said that. I was like, oh, I have to be friends with this girl now. She just like, everybody's mind is blown. They're like, I don't even know what to do with this right now. It was amazing. And I think also like your level of confidence about it and your level of like, I don't give a fuck, you know? I think that's what everybody was like, oh God, it's a whole other beast. And I'm like,
they pretty much annoyed everybody.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So we have a gazillion fan questions. Everybody is so excited to have you join me for episode 11, as am I. And it's really funny because last I checked on the YouTube comments, I think there was like close to 300 questions for you. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to be like one of those auction people and just be reading questions like 400 miles per hour the whole time. And you're just going to be looking bewildered. So unfortunately for you guys, we're not going to be able to get to everybody unless we did this interview for like 8 straight hours. But we did go through some of the questions and pick some of the ones that we think everybody wants to hear. So how would you like to answer some fan questions, Megan?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I think one of the most appropriate first questions to ask is Jennifer Henry posted this on YouTube. Thank you, Jennifer, for your question. Jennifer says, Megan, what have you been up to since all the shows? Married, children, trophy wife? So tell us everything. We want to
pretty close. No, actually I am married. I've been with my husband for 7 years now. I have a 5-year-old son. He is basically my whole world. You know, he's like the most important thing to me, my best friend. I'm totally obsessed with him. And I basically just spend all my time trying to be like the best mom I can possibly be to him.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. Did you and your husband get married in 2013?
You know what? I'm not sure.
I'm only asking because you said 7 years, and that's how long my husband and I have been married.
We didn't get married right away. We didn't get married. We got married a couple years after we met. I actually had my baby first, and then we got married. So maybe around 2015-ish.
So wait, were you saying that you were living in sin?
I mean, you know.
You naughty girl. No, I'm just teasing you. I'm so excited for you. That's awesome. I could tell that you would be an amazing mom, and I could tell that anybody who ever fucked with your kid, that would be the last thing that they do. God. And they would regret. Honestly, that is the reason I don't have kids, because there would be so many dead PTA parents and teachers that I would have like strangled. So I'm like, I can't do it. So
it's a fine line.
Yeah. But congratulations. That's so exciting. How did you and your husband meet?
You know, we actually met at a bar. You know, I was having dinner at a bar with my friend, and he sat right next to me, and he was tall and cute, and he's actually younger than me, which was a first. I've always been with much older guys, but I met him, and he was just like so lighthearted, so easygoing, you know, and I was like, this is great. It was just a good match.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. And you look happy and you look amazing. So obviously, you know, you've been making good choices for yourself, because it shows. You're like glowing and you look beautiful. And I'm so happy for you. Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Rebel with a Cause 666, that's amazing, wants to know. I want to know about Beauty and the Geek. That was why I kept watching Rock of Love 2. It was because you were on it. Did that show have anything to do with your casting on Rock of Love? And what was Beauty and the Geek like for you? Yeah, I totally forgot that you were on Beauty and the Geek, and that was basically your first show right before you were ever affiliated with any of the VH1 shows?
Actually, I was on Jerry Springer was the first show I was ever on a couple times because they filmed in Chicago. And I did just like some modeling girl work with Jerry on the show a couple times. And then I was on Beauty and the Geek, and let's see. That was a lot of questions she asked.
It was a lot of questions.
It was like 10 questions.
What was your...
I was on Beauty and the Geek. And you know what? I auditioned actually to be on VH1 shows, and I was living in Chicago. And when I auditioned, they didn't say what show it was for. The casting company came to Chicago and they were doing auditioning. And I went in, I auditioned. And they said, usually, we don't want anybody from another reality show. They want to find like new talent, fresh faces, whatever. But I just thought it would be fun to go audition. And they came back and they offered me to be on Flavor of Love.
Oh my God. That would have been insanity. Wow.
Right? Flavor of Love. So it wasn't a good fit for me. I didn't move forward with that. And then a couple of months later, they came back and they offered me to be on Rock of Love. So when I went on there, I obviously knew that they were putting me on there because I'm coming with my own reason to get rid of me. That's like an easy way to just, eliminate you if you've been on another show. So I knew I had to be like completely quiet about ever been on another show. And the Rock of Love girls aren't really Beauty and the Geek watchers. So nobody recognized me. But it would be interesting because you would see a girl get pulled around a corner to speak to a producer. And then they would come back and be like, Megan, how do you know so much about production or filming or, whatever, airtime? And I would just be like, it's obvious. Are you guys fucking stupid? I knew what they were up to. I knew what they were trying to do. They were like trying to pry it out of me. And they would even put bread on me. And he would say like, why did you come on a reality show to find love? And I would just turn it around on him and say, well, this is where you chose. Like, I would have liked to met you anywhere, but this is how you chose it. So
it's a great answer. Absolutely. That's really cool. That's awesome. So when you were in Chicago, isn't that where Jess, who was the winner of Rock of Love season 1, was she in Chicago too?
I don't know. No, Amber was from Chicago, I think.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Did you know any of the girls prior to Rock of Love?
No, I didn't know any of them. And I never spoke to any of them after either.
Just me and Brandy.
Just you, lucky you. No, and Jessica, and
oh yeah, Jessica's amazing. I love Jessica. She's great.
Yeah. She's really actually a real sweetheart.
Okay, so the next question is from Kimberly Mason. Kim wants to know, Megan, you always had me, she put CTFU, which is really going to show my age right now. I think CTFU is cracks me the fuck up. I know F is probably fuck. That's all I know. So then from there, I have to decipher the letters around it. You kids and your language, I can't keep up. So CTFU, I think, is cracks me the fuck up. All right, so just a little disclaimer there. Lazy's old as fuck. Megan, you always had me cracking the fuck up on Rock of Love. During Rock of Love, I think Brett eliminated you because you didn't cry over him, but did about your ex. It was super corny, but I always thought that they had edited the part where he was telling you your tour ends here and you were shaking your head no. So actually quite a few people did ask about this and they were saying it was sort of like an awkward moment and people were getting the feeling that it was like a producer created moment. Like, was it something that you legitimately were confused or you didn't understand? Or was it something that was like in editing to make you look weird or bad? What's your take on that?
Well, when I went to the show, coming from Beauty and the Geek, they really stress authenticity, honesty. There was no manipulation, no trickery, nothing going on. And so naively, I assumed that's how it was on reality shows. So when I came to Rock of Love, I really thought it was, he was really trying to find a partner or a girlfriend or someone to take on tour with him. But I had a boyfriend at home and I really had no interest in him at all the whole time. I just wanted to have a good time. So,
and your boyfriend was okay with it?
He didn't really have a choice. Yeah.
You're just like, this is happening.
I'll be back in a couple weeks. Don't worry about it. Don't answer the phone when they call you. So producers kept coming up to me and saying, do you notice how other girls are talking about Brett, how they're crying about him, saying they're falling in love with him, saying, he's so hot or whatever. You need to do that. And I was like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand, like, if you don't do this, you're not going to be here much longer. Like, you have to show some type of interest in him. So even after a couple times of being told, like, you need to start saying, like, oh, I really like him, at least. I didn't pick up on it, you know? So when at that point, you know, when it was like down to 5 girls and I had never even said I liked him and I had no relationship with him at all. And then my ex-boyfriend came on and I was, you know, drunk and a little bit upset about him or whatever. When right before the elimination, I was talking with Brett and he was like trying to make out with me, and I knew he wasn't mad at me at all, you know? So when I got eliminated, that was like the light bulb finally went off in my head. Like, this is not real. Like, he's not mad at me. He's not upset about my ex-boyfriend. Like, this is all bullshit.
Right.
So, even if you're thinking that, I don't think you're supposed to start saying that.
Right.
So when I'm shaking my head at the elimination, I'm going, this isn't real. This isn't real.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And that is what the other girls are like, oh my God, I can't believe she's saying that. That's when you're seeing like this strong reaction from other girls at the elimination, is because I'm repeatedly saying drunk, this isn't real, and shaking my head. And so they
you just had figured it out in that moment?
Audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I just talked over you for a second. So just to clarify, you just became aware in that moment, like literally right then and there was you're like, oh, wait a second. This is just for a good TV show. This isn't like him trying to find love. So that's when you got it figured out.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Right. So when I realized that, I just, you know, like couldn't contain myself.
That makes sense.
So they had to edit it.
It makes sense for the perceived confusion perceived from the viewer's perspective. You know, it's interesting that you say that, because I kind of had a similar thing with me, just for slightly different reasons. And so when I went on Rock of Love season 1, and I talked about this in some of the earlier Talk of Love podcast episodes, I just was thinking about the whole thing and analyzing everything. And I was just thinking about Flavor of Love, because I watched all those shows, and how Flavor Flav like didn't find love, or he did find love and then it didn't work out. And then now they're doing season 2, and he did find love, but then it didn't work out. And now he's doing season 3. And then he did another spinoff show with Bridget, what's her face. And so I was like, you know, I feel like this is the same way. And I'm like looking at Brett and I'm like, he's a good looking guy. He's a rock star. He really can't find love. So on one of the earlier episodes of season 1, Rock of Love, they didn't air this, but I had a moment where I was alone with Brett, and I point blank asked him, because I was trying to figure out, how am I going to be in this show? Where's my role? So I point blank asked him if he was really here to find love. And I also asked him, do you really, really, really don't have a girlfriend, like for real? And Brett was like, well, and I was like, and he goes, I'm kind of in an on-again, off-again relationship with the mother of my 2 kids. So I'm like, okay. And I appreciated his honesty with that. But that made me aware pretty early on that this is not, you know, this is the same thing that you, Megan, became aware of, like as on your elimination. I just became aware of it pretty early on, but it was good, because then I could be like, that's why I went full force with this villain character. I also knew that if I was the villain, that the producers were not going to want me to go home, because I was the only one that was like stirring up all the drama for the show. So, but it was funny, because when I finally got eliminated, for me, I made it all the way 3rd to the end. And I remember it was late at night. I was really, really tired. I was just exhausted. And I exited the house, and then the producers came up to do my exit interview. And I was like, oh, fuck, there's more. I was exhausted. I wanted to go to bed. And I was kind of like bummed that I had just gotten eliminated. So the producers were like, so Lacey, like, so are you sad? Are you like, and I'm like, no, I'm just tired. I want to go home. And they're like, do you love Brett? Do you love him? And I'm like, no. And I was like just giving them all wrong answers, and they're like, come on, Lacey, like work with us a little bit here. Give us something.
Yeah.
And I was just over it. And, because I knew Brett wasn't really there for love, of course I didn't develop feelings for him. I did like him as a friend. I thought he was a really awesome guy, but it was kind of the same thing. Like they were just trying to get like waterworks and I loved him. And I just couldn't bring myself to say it, so it's kind of the same thing. But I bet if you had been given that information early on that it was just to make a TV show, you could have like really done some incredible shit. I mean, you were incredible anyway, but I'm just, my wheels are turning in my head. Like, can you imagine Megan actually having all the information and what a terror she would have been? Do you think it would have changed how you were had you known that information early on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely would have listened to what they told me, obviously on Charm School and I Love Money and obviously on Megan Wants a Millionaire. If they told you something, you went and did it because if you're working with them, they're keeping you around,
them being the producers. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you were so much fun on Charm School and you were great on I Love Money and you were great on, what we saw of Megan Wants a Millionaire too. So people are asking, do you have more episodes than just what you've shown on your YouTube channel? Are you allowed to answer that?
I mean, I don't know anybody that's going to tell me I can't answer that. No, I only have the 5 episodes. I only have the first 5 episodes, yeah.
Did they air 3 or am I remembering that?
They aired 3 episodes and then I was given 2 more episodes and the last 5 will probably never be seen.
Did you get to see those or no?
No.
Ah, God, so heartbreaking. Okay, let's continue on with these questions because we have like 497,000 more to go. So strap in. Okay, so let's see. Rick Urslow wants to know, Megan, what is your relationship with Brett now? Are you still friends? Do you see him from time to time?
I have never seen him since the show. I mean, we really didn't have any connection on the show. So I've never seen him. I've never spoken to him ever.
Have you been to any of the like Poison concerts or anything?
No, never.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let's see. So Allie Vistine is asking, my question is mainly for Megan. And she said, Lacey, I bet you can add to this too. How do you feel about how you were edited and portrayed on Rock of Love, on I Love Money, and on Charm School? And she says, I feel like most fans definitely agree that you were shown in a different light in each of these shows. Would you agree with that? Do you think that you kind of played the role on your own? Do you think they edited you to look different in any way? Or do you feel like it was like what you see is what you get? How do you feel about how you were portrayed?
I think on Rock of Love, I didn't really have any relationship with Brett. I was never, spending time with him one-on-one. So there was nothing else to show of me on the show, There was no like relationship with me. I wasn't like in his room late at night, I wasn't crying about him. So there was nothing else to really show. I was just there to have a good time. I think on I Love Money was more like an accurate description of my personality, of me, that was more like real. And then Charm School was just, for fun also. It was just, we were just having a good time.
That makes sense. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Okay, a lot of people wanted to know this question. A lot of people asked. So M. Carver says, Megan, was your flirtation with White Boy on I Love Money, was that the real deal or was it just a strategic move to get further in the game? I'm dying to know. A lot of people were asking about you and White Boy.
You know what? Nobody, even him, didn't believe it was true. But it was true. I actually had a real crush on him. And, we both lived in Florida, only about 45 minutes away from each other. So we spent a lot of time together after the show for the next couple of years. We remained friends. And he gave me a couple of good gifts from the pawn shop. I can't complain.
Awesome. That's really
But,
cool.
No, it wasn't. I really liked him. There was just something about him. He was cute.
I definitely see it. He's a good-looking guy, and he has a certain like charisma to him. So I definitely see that for sure. Are you guys still on good terms, or have you seen him or spoken to him? Did you guys just go your separate ways, or?
Yeah, no, we haven't spoken in several years. But I mean, nothing ended on bad terms.
Just life happens sometimes.
Exactly.
Awesome. Good deal. All right. So Jonathan Rodriguez asks, Megan, I love, and he put like all the O's in there. I love how you play the game on I Love Money. The fact that you quit the game makes you so smart. So you basically made it so like they didn't get to eliminate you. You took the control away from them. So he's just complimenting you on that. I think a lot of people thought that was a really great move, myself included. And he also wants to know, it's a multiple part question. How did you stay calm with the whole pumpkin toasty thing? And yeah, when they were going after you and Brandy C. So yeah, let's talk about the pumpkin toasty thing a little bit. That did get pretty crazy, but you girls just like, I could tell they were just trying to provoke you into some sort of like wild reaction, and you guys just...
The food fight? Are you talking about the food fight?
Yeah, I think that's what M. Carver is asking. I guess when they were like just messing with you guys, pouring like, drinks and food and stuff on your head. And yeah, tell us about all of that.
You know what? There was so much stress going on in that house. Like we had so much stress built up, but we know if you punch somebody, if you hit somebody, you're going to get kicked out. So we just had like so much anger built up at each other that it was like a free-for-all food fight. We were going crazy, just trying to like get all this aggression out. And I mean, it went on for a long time. It went on for longer than they even showed on there. It got crazy.
I think a lot of people don't realize how stir crazy we get in these houses, because even though there are big, beautiful houses and a big, beautiful property and a beautiful location, when you are stuck in there with people and you cannot leave, you cannot go anywhere, there's no escapism, you can't go check your email or make a phone call or, watch a TV show or anything, or just go for a walk. You're stuck there. And if there's someone there that you don't like, it can definitely be a little maddening for sure.
Yeah, and because, there was so much at stake, with the $250,000, and it was just like nonstop, challenges and strategy going on back and forth. It was like there was no like release, and we all just had so much tension built up, and we just like went insane.
I believe it. Yeah, and I've never
Did you see that? It was crazy.
Yeah, I did. It was incredible from like a viewer perspective. But yeah, it looked nuts. And I will tell you, I've never met Pumpkin, but I've watched all the shows that she's been on, and she definitely has a strong personality, but in my opinion, she has also an abrasive personality. So I feel like probably had I been on a show with her, I probably would not have gotten along with her either, just based on what I've seen of her on the Of Love shows. So I can imagine that must have been challenging for you.
Well, I mean, I pretty much put like the nail in the coffin when I accidentally said, saggy boobs suck out loud.
That was
when
amazing.
She was talking. I was like, ah.
What prompted you to say that? Was that
out loud? I thought that was in my head.
Was that pre-planned, or did it?
It didn't put us off to a good start.
Was it pre-planned, or did it just naturally it just came out?
It just came out.
The best was, I think it was Real's reaction to that. He was like, "Oh God, here we go." Right out the gate.
Yeah.
It was amazing. You definitely make incredible TV for sure. All right, what else we have here? Let's see. Oh, so quite a few people asked this question. Wild Boy Didi wants to know if you and Brandy C are still friends. Do you guys still talk? And what about Cecile am I saying that right? From
Cecile.
Yeah. What about you and her? What about you and Brandy C? Do you guys still talk?
Yeah, we've recently reconnected. Right after the whole situation with Ryan and everything, I was really, seriously, like affected mentally, emotionally. And I came back home and I really stopped talking to everybody I knew. I stopped talking to Brandy, Cecile, every single person I knew, I stopped talking to. And it's not till now, probably 10 years later, it took me to really get over everything and feel like myself again. And now I'm starting to more reconnect with, some of my friends.
Well, that's great. I talked a little bit about I Love Money 3, which, as you know, Ryan was a part of. And after all of that happened, I remember in real life, you and I had a number of conversations about Ryan because on I Love Money 3, he really confided in me a lot about his relationship with Jasmine. And I felt like I knew quite a bit based on his perspective. Obviously, I didn't have her side of the story. But I remember when you and I talked after all that went down, you and I sort of compared notes a little bit. And I remember you telling me the same, that he'd sort of confided in you. And it was just such a shocking, traumatic, insane, unbelievable thing that happened. And, not only were... I think I can speak for you as well when I say this. Like for me personally, when that happened, not only was I in shock, like, holy shit, he murdered Jasmine and then he died. And even though he's a monstrous human being, he was still somebody that I lived with for a month. So it was crazy. And then add on to the fact that all these shows, your show didn't air, my show didn't air. These shows got yanked and I was really devastated by that. I'm sure you were too. But in the moment, I felt like I couldn't really express that I was devastated about the show because it felt callous to me. I felt like I should be more concerned about the fact that 2 people lost their lives. I was upset about that as well, but I remember talking to the castmates way later and everyone's like, yeah, it was pretty devastating to lose those shows. And it was also devastating to live through this horror that had been created by Ryan and ultimately Jasmine as well. I'm not blaming her at all, but just saying the situation that he caused that she was the victim of. So let's talk about that a little bit. How soon, at what point in time did you get the news? Did you get it from the producers? I'm assuming you'd already finished filming. You'd finished filming Megan Wants a Millionaire. So let's talk about that in real time. Like, where were you at emotionally with all that? How did you find out?
I mean, I actually really liked Ryan. I really liked him when he was filming my show. I started having a personal relationship with him while we were filming the show. I wanted to pick him as the winner. And when I had to eliminate him when he was in 3rd place, we were both crying.
Wow.
We were both upset about it. I didn't want to. And he couldn't even believe it was happening. And he was crying and he was saying, like, no, you're not. Like, he couldn't even believe it. Like, it was very dramatic.
Why was he eliminated?
Because basically I couldn't pick him as the winner. So
was it because of the producers or because you just had another person that you wanted to win, or?
No, I wanted to pick him, but I was strongly persuaded that was the wrong decision.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
And so then I had to eliminate him. And he thought that he was going to win because I had told him he was going to. And it was really devastating to him. And so after he was eliminated and his dad was there and my parents were there, it was really upsetting to both of us. And I only had like 3 more days of filming to do for the show. And I couldn't explain to him what was going on at the time. So I just stopped answering my phone and I just figured I'll explain it to him in 3 days. What could happen in 3 days, right? I'll call him in 3 days. I'll explain everything.
Famous last words.
I thought I'll meet up with him in California or wherever. And he called me nonstop for those 3 days. I didn't answer my phone. And then in 3 days, he called me and he said, I met the love of my life in Vegas. So, have a nice life, basically.
So because they got married.
I was like, well, guess what? I'm not explaining anything to you. You can just go on your way with her.
Wow. So they had only known each other for 24 hours and then they got married. Is that what you remember being the case too?
Well, he had told me that, he went to Vegas because he was like really upset. And he not only was upset about me, he was upset because he thought that he was being played the whole time. He thought that everything that I was telling him was all a lie and it was just for the show, So he felt like a fool, for being led on, but he never understood that wasn't what happened, So when he met her in a club, he said that he got her phone number and she put her birthday into his phone. And when he looked at it, it was the same birthday as his. And that was a sign that they were meant to be together.
Oh, God. Wow. That is insane. Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. Wow. So do you think part of the reason he kind of met this girl so quickly was to get over you? And do you think he called you and told you about it just to kind of like rub your face in it a little bit?
No, because he didn't think I ever really cared, Oh. He thought it was all just fake. So, I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy. So then he came on my show, which was obviously I Love Money 3, and we were in Mexico for a month. And then when it finished filming, I remember I spoke to him on the phone a couple of times after we were done filming and we were back in the United States because I was riding horses. I had a horse at the time, and he was trying to get me to take Jasmine horseback riding with me. And because he was like, she loves horses. And he was just trying to, do things that she liked to just kind of win back her love, so to speak, because they'd been through a lot of like fighting and stuff like that. So I remember saying like, yeah, totally just bring her out and I will totally take her horseback riding. And it was literally within that week that he killed her. And it was insane. But I found out, I'd literally been talking to him right up to the point, and he even texted me after the fact and was still talking about horseback riding, but he was telling me he was going to have to take a rain check. And that was after he'd already killed her that he texted me that. It was when I found out that, when I figured like put together the timeline, it just like sent chills down my spine. But I found out what had happened because the producers were calling me and telling me not to answer any press calls having to do with that. And they were sort of cryptic about it. And I finally was like, you need to tell me what's going on. And they finally said like, Ryan has been accused of this thing. We don't know if he did it. But what was your experience as far as like, when did you find out? How did you find out?
Well, before he came on I Love Money, we were still talking, like I had met up with him a couple times. He actually was trying to move in with Cecile, who I was living with. He was emailing her and trying to move into her apartment.
Wow.
So, we had like a lot more, of like an on and off again friendship relationship going on before he went on I Love Money. And I actually convinced him to go on to I Love Money 3.
Oh,
because I met with him right before he accepted his contract to go on that show. And he was debating whether he should go on it or not. And I told him that, it would be good for him to go on it. But he was like starting to I don't know, like he wasn't even himself at that point. When I met with him right before then, he thought that I was sent from the producers to convince him to go on the show.
Wow.
Like he was
paranoid.
Yeah, he was really paranoid. He had lost a lot of weight from the last time I had seen him.
Wow.
He like wasn't himself anymore. He was acting really bizarrely. And it really scared me actually. And after I went out with him that last time, I told him I was going back to Florida, even though I wasn't, just because I never wanted to see him again because he was acting so strangely.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, I do know that, I didn't know Ryan before I Love Money 3, but I do know that when we were filming the show, he was really, really, really obsessive over Jasmine. And he talked about her constantly. And I guess based on what he said, and this is just speculation, but based on what he said, what I had put together in my head of what had happened was that he had met Jasmine. They fell in love. They got married within like 24 hours. But I know that he was Canadian. He was hoping to come here and get a green card. From the way he described things, it sounded like they had some sort of arrangement where he would take care of her financially and she would make sure that, they were married so he could get a green card. But I do know he truly loved her. But she was very angry with him because at that time he was not able to give her the money that he had promised her because that was, I believe, in 2008, I think. And I know that there was like the housing crash, the market crash at the time, and he was very much a part of that. That's where he was making his money. So I think he lost a lot of money at that time, and he had promised Jasmine some kind of financial arrangement. He wasn't able to deliver. So he kept telling me that he was like, I have to win I Love Money 3. I have to win because I need to get back in Jasmine's good graces. And he was really obsessive about it. And he was like, she's so mean to me, but she wasn't always that way. I'm like, you've only known her for several weeks. What do you mean she wasn't always that way? And he was like, well, she was really sweet in the beginning and then she just got really mean, but it's my fault. I didn't deliver with the money. And as I'm hearing him, I'm like, are you hearing yourself? This is like not what a relationship is supposed to be. And he was such a powerhouse on I Love Money 3. That's why I ended up, he was not on my team, but we formed an alliance because I'm like, this motherfucker is going to win this goddamn show because he was so strategic and he was a powerhouse in every single challenge. He dominated. I knew he was going to win, but the level of determination coming from a very unhealthy, obsessive place was unreal. So it makes sense to me that when all was said and done, I don't know what happened with him and Jasmine at that point, but based on how hard he worked to win that fucking show, when he finally won, if then he went to Jasmine and that still wasn't enough to fix the relationship in his crazy screwed up mind, then of course I could see it ending explosively. So that was my take on all of it. I mean, a lot of that speculation, but it's based on things that he told me.
I mean, even after he came back from I Love Money 3, he called me and I didn't know she was on the phone.
She was on the phone too?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he wanted me to say, that nothing had happened between us the last night that we had gone out while they were married. And I said, I didn't know she was on the phone, but I was like, he was like, will you tell my wife, in case she calls you, that nothing happened between us? And I was like, I will, but do you remember that night where you were telling me she was ruining your life and, she was the worst thing that ever happened to you and she was a whore? And he was like, I never said that. And I was like, yeah, and you told me, this and this and this. And I kept going on and then he hung up the phone real quick.
Oh my God. He was an idiot. Why would he call you?
She was listening.
Oh my God. What a mess.
Yeah.
What a mess.
Yeah. So, so I just felt like more affected by the situation because I had known him so well and I knew him as a person. I cared about him as a person. I felt bad for him because I had known him from when he first came to LA and through, what he wound up, turning into. It was just sad to watch. And so I felt bad for him. And I just, to be able to even process that whole situation was just like, I couldn't even handle it. So I basically just came back to Florida and, stopped talking to everybody I knew. I changed my phone number. I stopped even responding to my name when people would see me on the street. I would be like no, it's not Megan, because I couldn't even handle talking about it. I couldn't even process that at all.
I'm so sorry for you. I mean, I can only imagine. It makes sense the way you're describing it, how devastating the whole thing was, because even though Ryan was a monster and he did something monstrous, you are a compassionate woman. You have compassion for people. This is somebody that you knew. And to watch somebody just go into a dark downward spiral and not be able to get out, I mean, that's devastating for the person themselves and everybody around them, obviously. So Megan, I hate to do this, and I'm sure that the people watching Talk of Love right now are gonna be like, no, but we're out of time. But I do, just so we're not ending on such a dark note, I just want to ask you if you have any plans for yourself for the future. Are you just gonna continue being an awesome mom and an awesome wife, or do you have anything lined up? Or tell us what your future holds for Miss Megan Hauserman.
You know what? Over the years, I have definitely been offered other opportunities. But since I've had my son, it's really just the most important thing to me is to just be with him every second I can. And until he doesn't want me anymore, that's really all I want to do. And I just, I had a great time then. And I'm sure in the future, when he has his own girlfriend, I'll have a life again. But for now, no, I'm just really happy,
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And I'm so glad that you're back in my life. It's been many years, but as you said, it's like we haven't missed a beat. You look amazing. You look happy. You look youthful. I can tell that motherhood and wifehood has been very good to you. And I'm really, really happy for you. And I definitely want to stay connected with you. And hopefully at some point when the coronavirus stuff is over, I can come visit you in Florida, or you can come visit me in Las Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. And Lacey, you're doing such an amazing job. I wish you all the success in the world.
Oh, thank you. Mwah. Love you, girl. Take care.
Okay.
And thank you again for joining us.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Oh my God, that was incredible, you guys. I feel like I'm like a fangirl right now too, right there with you guys. That was such an amazing interview. I'm so thankful and grateful to Megan for coming on and spilling the tea. So yeah, this is how it's going to be, you guys. I'm super excited. Every week's going to be somebody awesome. And I have to say, I have one more surprise for you guys. Next Monday, my girl Farah from Rock of Love Bus is going to be here as my guest co-host for episode 12. I'm so excited. You guys, I freaking love Farah. I met her after the Rock of Love shows got done filming, and she is just hysterical. She's so much fun. She and I are real life friends, so we are going to have a great, great time. So I cannot wait to bring her on. So yeah, you guys keep with me. Thank you for your support. We've got lots of fun episodes and awesome Rock of Love cast members lined up, and you guys are going to love it. So make sure that you don't miss an episode. Go to the little subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Also, please do me a favor and click the thumbs up, and make sure that you share with your friends. And also come visit me on Patreon. Right now, we're so bored. I provide all kinds of awesome content on Patreon, exclusive videos that nobody else gets to see, personalized video shout outs for you guys. I'm also doing Skype conversations with some of you guys, all kinds of fun stuff to pass the time while we're all on lockdown. So please go see me at patreon.com/talk of love. And we'll see you next Monday with Farah, and don't threaten me with a good time. Bye, guys.